So basically, it's not a writing test, it's a thinking test disguised as a writing test. uh, 15 to 20 minutes. A topic like climate change, a hoax, materialism is the root cause of existential crisis. This was IIM Calca topic last year. Materialism is the root cause of existential crisis. तो ऐसा आपको एक टॉपिक दे देंगे. Now you have to pick a stance. You have 15 to 20 minutes, again depending on the IIM. Almost every IIM now gives 20 minutes. In those 20 minutes, what you have to actually do is you have to write down 250 to 300 words. Again, the word limit also depends on the IIM. In a structure which is intro, body and conclusion. ठीक है, ये structure follow करते हुए picking a stance. For example, if you think climate change is a hoax, you will write कि yes, I agree to it. If you think that climate change is not a hoax, then you will write no, I don't agree to it. ये stance pick करते हुए you have to write a intro, body, conclusion का proper format. And usme they look for logic, they look for data points. For example, if you think is climate change a hoax, तो आपको डेटा पॉइंट से जस्टिफाई करना है कि नो, क्लाइमेट चेंज इज नॉट अ होक्स. ग्लेशियर्स पिघल रहे हैं किसी जगह पे. यू कैन से कि फॉर एग्जांपल पनामा कैनाल वाला एक इंसिडेंट हुआ था लास्ट ईयर, हमारे टाइम पे बहुत फेमस हुआ था कि द एंटायर सप्लाई चेन of the world was in jeopardy just because Panama Canal is a very important geopolitical route. And क्योंकि वो फ्रेश वाटर सोर्सेस पे डिपेंड करता था एंड वहाँ का फ्रेश वाटर सोर्स ड्राई आउट हो गया था, तो नाउ द पीपल वर नॉट एबल टू यूज द कैनाल. सो आपको ऐसे पॉइंट्स दे देके इन द बॉडी यू हैव टू जस्टिफाई एंड देन यू हैव टू कंक्लूड. द कंक्लूडिंग स्टेटमेंट इज आल्सो लाइक दिस ओनली कि मतलब when you conclude, right? So you write a concluding statement like, in conclusion, a lot of people might argue that climate change is a hoax, but viewing all the above points or something like that, I personally feel that climate change is not a hoax and we need to take these steps to make sure that we prevent this from happening further. So overall, you have to give a very structured format for your WAT. It's not a writing test. English test नहीं होती उसमें. Even if your English is wrong, कभी कभी maybe you are grammatically also आप इतने सही नहीं होगे, but still it won't matter that much. What will matter is your logic and your thinking. क्योंकि 25-20 मिनट में framing a proper 20-50 word का structure and उसमें writing intro, body, conclusion वाले पूरे के पूरे एक उसमें framework में, it's a difficult task. So that is what they test. Extempore is nothing. Extempore is basically they'll give you a topic in your PI only. Then they'll give you like वहीं पे कि you have 1 minute to think and you have to speak for 2 minutes. That is extempore.
Okay, भैया.
So that is a major difference. WAT, I think WAT is now generally followed. GD IFT में होता है, Excel में होता है, SPJ में you have GI. Apart from that, I don't know if any college is conducting GD as of now. So I don't think GD हो रहा है अभी. But
IIM IIM शिलोंग का शायद, not sure.
नहीं, IIM शिलोंग में there is no GD. Last year नहीं हुआ था हमारा.
इस बार जो उन्होंने प्रिपरेशन किट दिया ना, उसमें उन्होंने जीडी के बारे में समझाया हुआ है, लिखा हुआ है, तो फिर इसलिए लोग गैस कर रहे थे.
जीडी के बारे में पीआई किट में तो यार लखनऊ में भी एक्सप्लेन होगा आई थिंक, बट इन जनरल शिलोंग में यू डोंट हैव अ जीडी.
ओके ओके ओके,
ठीक है, तो चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट करते हैं. आई थिंक आई विल क्लोज द एंट्री आल्सो नाउ. आई विल जस्ट राइट इट ऑन द ग्रुप. ठीक है, चलो. सो WAT in general, written ability test. Now what do you actually need for a perfect WAT? So for a perfect WAT, what you actually need is firstly to follow this structure that is written in front of your screen, which is intro, body, conclusion. And when you want to generate ideas, आइडिया जनरेट करने के लिए द बेस्ट फ्रेमवर्क टू फॉलो इज पेस्टल फ्रेमवर्क. Now, what is a PESTEL framework? Let's look at what a PESTEL framework is first. ठीक है. So, for example, if I ask you about banning alcohol, so you will just say it's bad because I like to. We don't ban alcohol. Why? Because it's essential for party. ठीक है. Some might say it's healthy also for certain individuals. This is a very one-dimensional opinion, right? This is your opinion. Professors don't look for your opinion. आपको ऐसे ही they are not allotting 15 marks, 20 marks. कोई has 20 marks weightage over it. Bangalore has 10, Lucknow has 15. So they are not allotting you 10, 15, 20 marks out of 50. So 25, 30% weightage just for a one-dimensional opinion. So in general, whenever you're given a topic, right, try कि क्या उसमें pestle लग रहा है. For example, banning alcohol. Okay. इसमें अगर मुझे pestle लगाना हो, तो first thing is political. अब मुझे ये बताओ कि when I talk about banning alcohol, तो political angle देखते हैं of banning alcohol. What does the government actually want? Okay. So political is not just about voting. It's about power and policy. Is the government pushing this or supporting this or stopping this? Are they friends with countries that sell the raw materials? So all of this comes in your political part. Because, for example, if someone asks you about EVs, right? So government wants EVs to reduce oil dependence on Arab nations. They're giving subsidies. Government is giving subsidies. So that is a political point. So now in your body, if अगर आपका EV वाला topic आ रहा है, तो political वाले point से what you can say? Dependence of oil reduce होनी चाहिए. Subsidies मिल रहे हैं. ठीक है. Now comes the economic angle. The economic angle says if whatever topic is in front of you, you just check who loses money, who makes money, what about the jobs. This is probably the easiest one because you have to follow money in this. ठीक है. तो EVs वाले एग्जांपल में अगर मैं लूं, it creates a new manufacturing industry. Political हमने देख लिया EV का. अगर मैं इकोनॉमिक देखूं, तो this creates jobs. Because again new manufacturing units are set up. तो ये तो पॉजिटिव एंगल हो गया, राइट, ऑफ इकोनॉमिक, आपका इकोनॉमिक ब्रेकडाउन. नेगेटिव एंगल इज इट ऑल्सो किल्स द ट्रेडिशनल मैकेनिक जॉब्स बिकॉज EVs डोंट नीड रिपेयर उतना ज्यादा, राइट. ऑल्सो बैटरीज आर एक्सपेंसिव, cars become more costly for middle class. All of this come in your economic part. Who makes money, who loses money, what about jobs? If you see these things about any topic, you can cover the economic part. Third part is social angle. How does this change our lives, culture, health, etc. Society पे कैसे impact डाल रहा है वो. So if you have to look at the social angle of EV, you'll probably just look at the human behavior. Okay, for example, human behavior for EVs is what? People are still, they don't want to charge their vehicles. The charging time is so long. They want long road trips. Battery will die. They are scared that batteries are going to die. Psychological behavior. You look at the psychological behavior. It's a status symbol for a lot of them. So that is also one thing that, okay, it's a status symbol because we know EVs are expensive. Right? So that is one thing. Now, this is how you look at the social angle. Then comes the technological angle. Technological angle, मुझे देखना है तो all I have to see is the tech ready? Is the tech safe to use? What is the actual future of this particular thing? So, is the technology actually good to use? For EVs, the cars are ready, but the infrastructure isn't good right now. Charging stations are missing. We don't have charging stations everywhere. Battery disposal technology isn't there currently. This is the technological gap. ठीक है, तो Karan, the session is being recorded and everything, don't worry about it. ठीक है, so this is the technological gap of your EV part. So this is how you look at the technological aspect. Then comes the legal aspect. Legal aspect says, is it legal? Who gets sued if the things go wrong? If the things go wrong, who gets sued? So don't confuse political with legal. Political is about government, power and policy. Legal is about what the law forces you to do. Okay, to look for rights, bans, what are the rights? For example, EV के केस में who is liable if a self-driving EV crashes? अगर इंडिया में टेस्ला आ जाए and EV crashes or Tesla crashes, or let's say इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा ट्रैफिक है, right? So if Tesla comes in India and वो किसी को ठोक दे, for example, accident happens, who is liable? The driver of the software, the driver or the software. We need new liability laws for EVs, battery disposal laws चाहिए. So this is the legal aspect of it. Final is your environmental aspect. Simple, very simple. Carbon footprint. The words you look for in environmental aspect are carbon footprint, sustainability, waste management, climate change. You look at all these things because it's about every topic has an environmental angle to it. Does it hurt or does it help to, or does it help the our planet? For example, EVs have zero tailpipe emissions. But if the electricity to charge then comes from burning coal, they are not really green, right? You are still burning coal. So this is how you cover a topic पूरे के पूरे पेस्टल एनालिसिस से, एंड बहुत ही इजीली आप जो है वो काफी चीजें उसके बारे में लिख सकते हो, काफी चीजें आप उसके बारे में लिख सकते हो. ठीक है, सो दैट इज समथिंग जो कि आपको अपने वैट के टाइम पे, दिस इज समथिंग दैट यू हैव टू एक्चुअली मेक श्योर दैट यू नो डू इट. हाय या वेदांग, you raise your hand.
I just had a quick question, Raghav. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So you mentioned that one needs to consider the PESTEL analysis, and then there should be an intro, body, and conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do not have an opinion yet, so in case for EV, are we ready for EV is the topic, and I do not know which side to pick. I have mentioned all the pros and cons according to PESTEL analysis. So is it important to choose a side, or can we just put forward documents and leave it there?
If you do a PESTEL, it will automatically give you a conclusion.
Right.
Because if let's say there is a topic which is politically also good, which is economically also feasible, which contributes to the society as well, the technology is also ready and safe to use, the legal aspects are also covered, and it does not harm the environment as well, right?
Right.
And automatically you have an opinion that go ahead. But let's say if you're still confused, for example, the political part, right? So for EVs, let's say the political part is that they want to reduce the dependence on oil. And
Correct.
also EVs are green and government is giving subsidy. So politically, I can say that, okay, political part is in favor of EVs, right? When it comes to economic part, we saw that economic wise, it's about jobs. Who gets money, who loses money, right? So
Right.
new jobs are created, but the old jobs are also old jobs go for a begging, right? The
Right.
people who are earning, the mechanics and all, they don't have a livelihood then. Also, it's very expensive, so middle class can't afford it. So this is actually not in favor.
Right.
If you see, it's not in favor. So economic part is not in favor. When it comes to social part, okay, how does it contribute to the human aspect, right? The human psychology. The human psychology is still not good about EVs.
Right.
That okay, people think that okay, battery will die down. सड़क के बीच में, हाईवे के बीच में खड़ा होना पड़ेगा. Charging stations नहीं है. Charging time is long. We don't have fast charging stations. तो वो वाला part again, social part is also against, right?
Right.
Then comes the technological part. The cars are ready, infrastructure isn't ready, battery charging capacity नहीं है, battery disposal का नहीं है अभी. So again, the technological part is also not there. Legal frameworks are not there. What if a self-driving EV crashes? Environmentally also we say that okay, EVs don't have tailpipe emissions, but the electricity that is used to power these EVs, charge these EVs, that is coming by burning coal. So it is technically not absolutely green, right? So now you see that, okay, political was completely in favor. In rest, every single part, there were pros as well as cons as well, right? So if
Right.
you had both pros and cons, then your concluding statement is that, okay, though the EVs have they contribute to reducing emissions. The technology is also currently building. But we see that there are certain drawbacks as well. That, for example, it's very costly at the moment. Uh, People are still skeptical of buying EVs just because of the lack of infrastructure and the lack of fast charging facilities. The technological part also, that is the tech part, the infrastructure and the battery disposing and recycling part is also not there. And a certain legal frameworks are also lacking. So if all these comes into the picture properly, then only I think EVs can be, a mainstream thing in the country. That becomes the concluding statement then.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, Gautam.
Hello, Raghav.
Yes, you are audible.
See, a quick question, like in the legal part, let's just say for the EVs, there are no proper legal liability rules, okay? But like I'm taking as a chance, okay? In any other issue, the legal aids are there, but recently created. But I'm not aware of those legal aids. So I just gave my opinion that these legal aids are not there. So I was not in support with this. Okay. Will they think like he was not aware of these
No,
newly
they won't.
Okay.
They won't.
Yeah. Thank you.
The thing is,
Huh.
95% of the people don't analyze a topic using PESTEL.
Okay. Okay.
This is a way to structure your thoughts. I mean, a professor also knows that you can't have knowledge about each and every topic, right?
Yeah.
But what they want to see is, do you know this? Do you know this part that, okay, मेरे कोई भी topic देंगे, I'll probably apply a PESTEL analysis to actually arrive to an opinion. The thing is, whenever you're given a topic, what people do is directly jump onto the conclusion.
Yeah,
I'm in favor or I am in against.
Then
they keep on fighting about it.
Yeah.
Now what happens is, आपका opinion पूरा का पूरा गलत भी हो सकता है, right?
Yeah, might be.
They want to see what they want to see is that you're going to be a future leader, right? Trust me, उनको they won't allot 30-40% of the marks for this अगर उनको एक direct opinionated इंसान ही चाहिए बहुत ज़्यादा.
Yeah.
What they want to see is that क्या बिना analyze करे आप opinion पे jump तो नहीं करते हो.
Okay.
So that is, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
For example, let's take another example. This was IIM WAT last year.
Okay.
Also, one more thing about PESTEL, guys. Not everything out of these 6 apply to every topic. किसी पे 3 लगेंगे, किसी पे 4 लगेंगे, किसी का कुछ political होगा ही नहीं. So at times ऐसे topics भी होते हैं जिनमें 3 या 4 ही लग रहे होंगे, जो 6 के 6 आपको analyze भी नहीं करने पड़ेंगे. जिसमें आपको लग रहा है कि यार इसका तो कोई पॉलिटिकल एंगल बन ही नहीं सकता है, जिसमें आपको लग रहा है कि इसका कोई लीगल एंगल नहीं बन सकता या टेक्नोलॉजिकल एंगल नहीं बन सकता, लीव इट. Okay. Yes, Vaishnavi.
Hi, Raghav. So I wanted to ask, say you've applied this framework, but you're still on the fence regarding the entire topic as a whole. Then do you just choose one side at the end and sort of conclude it that way, or do you sit on the fence only?
Then you can do one thing that आपने framework लगाया, उसके basis पे what do you think is the side that is coming out? वो choose करके conclude कर दो.
Okay.
मतलब again it won't give you negative, मतलब ऐसा कुछ negative marks नहीं होंगे उसके. So आपके हिसाब से जो भी ये फ्रेम ऐसे पेस्टल वहां पे लिख मत देना भाई. Please don't write अपने वाट में कि मैं पेस्टल लगा रहा हूँ, all of that. Your writing should automatically reflect that you are applying this.
All right, got it. Thank you.
ऐसे नहीं लिखना कि टॉपिक आया तो पहले यहाँ पे ऐसे लिखा पॉलिटिकल, फिर इसके बारे में लाइंस लिखना चालू हो गए, फिर यहाँ पे इकोनॉमिक. No. It's intro, body, conclusion. Your writing should automatically display that you are applying this. So ऐसे you can write politically this happens. Politics is all about policy and power, right? So you can write that government is providing subsidies, want to reduce dependence on oil. Also, we see that in the economic part, right? You don't write economic. Also, we see that if EVs grow, we'll have more manufacturing units creating more jobs. But on the other hand, the traditional mechanic jobs are going to be replaced, leaving them unemployed. And also the EVs are expensive. So this automatically professor को समझ आ जाएगा, अच्छा ये तो economic analysis है. Then the social part, you don't have to write social. You'll just say also let's look at the human psychology of it. So people are still skeptical because they feel that, okay, the battery will drain out suddenly. The charging stations aren't there. The fast charging infrastructure isn't there. Then the technology part also, you'll write that, okay, also we lack the infrastructure. So वो professor अपने आप समझ लेगा कि अच्छा ये social angle लग रहा है, ये technological लग रहा है, and he'll automatically be impressed. ठीक है? So please write it like this. Don't write ऐसे कि political वगैरह ऐसे लिख के करने लग गए, वो नहीं बनाना. So this is a topic that was given in IMC last year, by the way. Materialism is the root cause of existential crisis. Now, if you see, abstract topic है this. This is a completely abstract topic, right? Abstract topic, जैसे मैंने अभी बोला था, not all these 6 will apply to every topic. At times, materialism is the root cause of existential. इसमें if you see, there is no political. There is no political aspect, right? Government का कोई रोल लेना देना है नहीं materialism में तो. Materialism, it's a thing that comes from within, right? Political नहीं लगा, economic लग जाएगा. Because materialism drives economies, but it creates a rat race as well. So it is creating rat race. Social लगेगा. We buy things to impress people that we don't like. That is one part. You buy a lot of things in your life to impress people that you actually don't like also, but you just buy them to impress people. Psychological लगेगा. For example, objects cannot provide you emotional feedback also. They can't support you emotionally. So if you have to write, let's say, इसका आपको intro create करना है, right? अब आपने पूरा पेस्टल तो नहीं, but इसमें 3-4 चीजें लग गई. For example, legal कुछ नहीं लगेगा इसमें, टेक्नोलॉजिकल कुछ नहीं लगेगा, एनवायरमेंटल कुछ नहीं लगेगा. तो जितने लगे उसमें से उतने लगाने हैं. जरूरी नहीं है कि सब कुछ लग ही रहा होता है हर बार, बट उन 6 में से कुछ 2-3 तो लग ही जाएंगे, and they'll give you a general idea. So if अगर मुझे मान लो materialism is the root cause of existential crisis के बारे में लिखना हो, तो I'd rather go by, you know, that current world is driven by consumerism, right? And but how is it that a political angle in materialism is the root cause of existential crisis? Even if the government is regulating, it's regulating for your safety, but it's not related to existential crisis, right? If you say there is a political angle, but it's about power and policy. So is there a policy on existential crisis? It's a feeling, right? Existential crisis is just a feeling, Vaishnavi. It's not something that can be regulated by the government. आपको existential crisis तो किसी भी चीज से हो जाएगा. But in general, why does this happen? Because you feel that, okay, someone has reached somewhere, someone has a certain car, someone has a certain bag, someone has something better than you, and that is why you feel the existential crisis, right? You don't belong to a social group at times. That is when you feel the existential crisis. It's the excessive desire for physical possessions, right? So if you have to introduce the topic, in abstract topics, you try to introduce them by, let's say, starting off with, again, in a world driven by consumerism, we often relate the standard of living to materialism in general. It's the excessive desire for physical possessions. It has evolved from a survival instinct to a status signal in general, right? At times it does drive economic growth. It is but it is actually becoming the architect for modern existential crisis. So if you see, I've introduced the topic in 2-3 lines. That, okay, we live in a world that is driven by consumerism, but now the standard of living has become the most important thing for everyone, right? And materialism now has become the excessive desire for physical possessions. It drives economic growth, it pushes people, but at the same time, it is becoming the architect for modern existential crisis. My introduction is done. Now my body part. Now in the body part, I did PESTEL. Political isn't there, but economic and social angles are there. So if I see from an economic lens, society is actually designed to fuel materialism. As we earn more, our desires rise. And we become more and more unsatisfied. And that is what actually pushes us to also work hard. That is also what pushes brands to create more and more, because as the income is going to rise, people in general want more and more. When we look at it socially, we have actually replaced the community connection and bonding with this materialism and consumption part. We buy a lot of goods, a lot of things, not for their utility, but now we buy a lot of things just because they're a status symbol. We have associated our self-worth with all of that. So that becomes the social angle and the economic angle. I've covered it in the body. Now I'll explain a bit about the existential crisis part. The existential crisis arises because materialism in general, for example, it attempts to solve an internal problem, but the solution isn't internal. We in general are human beings. We are human beings, right? So we crave social connection, we crave closeness, we want a purpose in life. An expensive watch maybe, or a luxury bag in general, can tell you time or can be a good status symbol and can give you the praise that, okay, you are rich, but it can't get you those social connections, that love that you want. So, okay, the dopamine hit of bragging something might last for, let's say, 30 minutes, one hour, maybe a day, maybe a week, but the void remains. So now I've covered the existential crisis part. Then I'll just conclude that although इसी को ही conclude करना होता है, पूरे के पूरे को, now you encapsulate in 3-4 lines and then you conclude that, okay, materialism, it's not an evil concept. It drives growth. It forces people, it pushes people to work hard. It is an economic driver, but it can become an architect for crisis when it replaces the real purpose of human civilization. So the solution, in my opinion, lies in shifting from, let's say, owning physical things to experiencing things in life. As we move forward, the major antidote to maybe existential crisis is not poverty, it's probably mindful consumption. That's it. I did an intro, I did a body, I concluded it. सबको समझ आया ये वाले टॉपिक के बारे में? How PESTEL का वो 2-3 चीजें, they helped me think and frame my opinion properly about how to, write about a topic like this. So this is all WAT is all about. You think, you apply this framework, you see whatever is going in its favor or against, then you form a conclusion. And when the conclusion part की बात है, I didn't conclude as if no, materialism is not the root cause of existential crisis or materialism is the root cause. I just said materialism is not an evil concept. It's a concept that promotes growth. It is a concept that pushes brands to innovate. It promotes innovation. But it becomes a crisis when it replaces the real purpose of human civilization. And then I gave a simple solution that you, rather than focusing on owning things, have to start experiencing things. Because when that is done, materialism is only going to promote more and more growth. Hanji Madhumita?
Hi, Raghav. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, so I had a question. So if we conclude like what you said, it does not answer the question, right? What they've asked. Like if you are supposed to answer the question, it is either yes, it does, or no, it does. But we're
Okay,
not.
tell me one thing. Have I asked the question? आपके सामने एक statement लिखा है. Is it a question?
Okay. It's just a statement. Okay.
It's a statement, right?
Okay, got
There
it.
is no question mark. They've said materialism is the root cause of existential crisis. So I have said, yes, it is a root cause only if it replaces the real purpose.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone, right? How you structure your WATs, how you think about a WAT, how you actually create that intro body conclusion part. I hope it is clear to everyone here. Clear?
Yes, Raghav, crystal clear. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Clear hai to, okay. There was one more topic. Would anyone like to come forward and discuss this WAT? Last year के IIM Cal का topic है ये भी. That digital activism, is it amplifying misinformation or promoting democracy? Would you guys like to take maybe 5 minutes to just think about the topic? This is a topic from last year IIM Cal WAT. So what do you guys want? You want me to start discussing or you want to think for 5 minutes?
Would you type out the topic, please?
Okay, I'll write it on the screen and I'll type it out as well. ठीक है? This is the topic. So what do you guys want? 5 minutes thinking about the topic? I have मैंने group chat पे भी ये topic डाल दिया है. Yes, Gautam?
Sorry, by mistake.
Okay. Okay, guys, आप लोग 5 minutes इस topic के बारे में सोचो, then let's discuss this topic also. This is a good topic. I like the topic last year. IIM Cal में ये वाला काफी WAT में. Everybody, do you guys have a general idea now?
I had a doubt. I believe for the VAT, we would not be allowed to use GPT or anything. We would have to write it, right?
Obviously.
Okay.
You won't be allowed any smart gadgets and all, guys. That is why that is a thinking test. It's about keeping your mind as open as possible, whatever scenarios come in your head. Okay, so tell me one thing. Firstly, if I ask the political aspect here, what is the political aspect of this particular thing, digital activism? Yes, Vedant.
I think my point of view on this would be that it's never been easier to raise your voice against wrongdoings in the society. So it becomes a very efficient method to raise your voice or voice out your opinions where everyone can debate or contradict your points. So it's a good meme there.
Perfect. Perfect. Rishu?
Yes, my points also aligns with the same. I think in this age and era, digital activism really helps to, for global reach and accessibility. And recently have witnessed a lot of events related to that also, be it the Gen Z protests in Nepal or the Aravalli Hills destruction. I mean, people really voiced out their opinion, and we also saw people in Nepal electing their prime minister using Discord server poll.
Very good. Rosh has mentioned a beautiful point. Political parties to spread propaganda. That's a very good point. Akash? Yeah. Got it. Yes, so, okay. You guys have summarized the political part very well. That politically, if you see, they have democratized the information, right? You marginalized communities. Now you don't need those traditional media sources or gatekeepers, to raise your voices. Now everybody has the opportunity to raise their voices. Like, for example, movements in the past there have been a lot of movements in the past. Hashtag Me Too movement was there. A lot of movements have started because of that, and digital activism promotes that. It also forces legislative changes. It also forces traditional activism to change. So it actually, if I could summarize it, it acts as a watchdog on our democracy, right? Because if at all anything goes against democracy, it acts as a watchdog. Yes, Vanshika?
I have mentioned one point that apart from these, that it does act as a watchdog. However, especially sometimes in countries even like India, a lot of censorship happens, and that is a major problem why people have been losing their trust in democracy as well.
But don't you think that will come a bit in the legal part? That we need legal frameworks?
Right, legal part.
You think you need more legal frameworks, right? To prevent wrong censorship and everything. And for people to raise their voices if the thing is right. Correct?
Right, it could be framed that way, right?
Yeah. So we've summarized the political part. So politically, we can say that. Socially also, we have covered in this only. That marginalized communities can now raise their voices and everything, right? So we've covered that part also perfectly. But one thing that I think two people covered is that also it has become a source of spreading misinformation, political propagandas, right? That is something that it has become. Yes, Vedant?
Yeah, I mean, adding to your point, even I was thinking on those angles in the social aspect, it can often cause social divide,
Yeah.
and the fact that young people are also on social media, very young children and adolescents, it can hurt or influence young minds very soon, make them
Very soon.
radical or biased very early on in their life.
Yeah.
It can also polarize the society, cause widespread chaos in countries.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, Gautam.
That
Actually, I also want to talk about that bias it creates. Okay,
Yeah.
as the digital in the digital era, everything was run by the algorithms and everything, right? So whatever we see the same opinion again and again, and it radicalized like to opinionated on one side. And one more thing, there is no accountability of what information they are providing, because they might provide a good information or not, but most of the time we are seeing unverified information. We don't know whether it's true or not on anything. All we know is that it is coming in our feed and we are just liking that or sharing if it aligns with our opinion. So it need to be regulated, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Meg?
Yeah, can we give the example of China that recently they came up with a law, the policy that nobody without a degree, relevant degree, can give information in that relevant area. So because there is a lot of misinformation on medical side also, which puts the people's life to risk, right? And then financial issues also, that there's a lot of financial education going on, which may cause the negative to people, right? तो वो बोल
Yeah.
सकते हैं ना. ये भैया ये सोशल में आएगा या लीगल में?
Legal.
लीगल में.
This is, I mean, a law by the government, right?
Yeah, it's a policy.
Yeah. It's a policy.
Right.
That so we also need policy regulations, right?
Right. So we can write in the legal that like China, India can also
You
do
don't
something.
again mention the word legal, but if let's say if किसी interview में मुझसे पूछो whether it's legal or not, so I will say yeah, it's a legal analysis part of it.
Right. ठीक है.
Also, मतलब government / legal analysis वाला part है ये. But yes, guys, everybody has summarized it beautifully. So can I just in 2 words say कि it's about more mob mentality versus voicing the voiceless. Social वाला जो aspect है, it's about how to prevent mob mentality while allowing the voiceless people to raise their voices. That is the discussion, right? That is our issue here at hand. तो इतने में summarize कर लिया मैंने कि mob mentality, social divide, social bias, we have to prevent all of this while allowing the marginalized communities or the voiceless to raise their voices. Now, whatever part the algorithm part you guys have said, that is the technological aspect of it.
I just had one small question, Raghav. While writing these essays, do we have to write it in first person perspective or third person perspective? Like, do I write it from my point of view or like a third person, like a newspaper editorial being written?
You write it with your point of view.
Okay.
They want to hear your opinion. They don't want to hear a newspaper. They don't want to read a newspaper editorial. It's your take, right?
Got it.
Okay. But the algorithmic part that everybody said, that's a very beautiful part, but that is kind of that the technological architecture of all the social media platforms today favors engagement more, right? It favors more engagement over truth. No one wants to hear the real truth. Okay, there has been a study, an MIT study that says that structured or a misinformation that can a misinformation actually spreads 6 times faster than the truth. than the facts. So basically, these algorithms are designed to promote engagement over truth. So what people do is controversy करनी है, echo chambers बनाने हैं, right? So digital mobs होते हैं. People attack other people, diss battles, rage baits, and all of that. So although digital activism is there, but the technological angle at times makes it, or it devolves it into cyberbullying, right? And that actually undermines the rule of democracy, equity, justice. So technological aspect में गौतम जी आपने, I think आपने algorithm वाला part बोला था, right? The algorithm promotes what we want to see and then we like baselessly and all of that. That is the technological angle here, right?
Yeah.
So technologically also I've analyzed it, and this is what I get now. Now, legally, all of you have mentioned only legally. That China wala example that Mehak gave is a beautiful example, that we need more strict laws to prevent cyberbullying, spread of misinformation. Also, we need strict laws regarding the technological laws as well, regarding the algorithms that are there, that they stop promoting just the spread of, or they stop promoting engagement just for their own benefits, right? We want that kisi ki bhi cyberbullying now, digital activism shouldn't actually, AI moderation technologies, yeah, up to the mark, aren't up to the mark. Yeah, they are not up to the mark, and we need strict regulations and laws regarding that. And also, the thing is that legally, if I have to see, I'll analyze it in this way as well, that who is responsible? Who is legally responsible? You tell me who is legally responsible. If someone says something about anyone on social media, who is legally responsible if the information spreads and defamation हो जाए? India में तो cases चलते ही रहते हैं, right? So anything spreads, लोग लगे रहते हैं defamation case डालने में. So it becomes a digital mob, digital पूरी cyberbullying हो जाती है. So it undermines the real values of democracy itself. So we need things like that. We need more policies. ये आपका political part में आ जाएगा, that we need more policies also. ठीक है? हाँ जी, गौतम.
Even like we can mention that, right? Like although China has those laws and all, but they primarily place those laws to not raise voice against the government, right? So we can mention that.
Your take.
Yeah.
You can mention whatever your take is.
Yeah.
Look, the real point of this session isn't, it's just about how to tell you guys how to structure your thoughts, right? So आपको 6 चीजें मिल गई हैं. Legal, economic, social, technological, political, and आपका environmental, and इसमें breakdown करके now I hope all of you are finding it easy to find points of what to write, right?
Yeah.
I hope कि आपको points बनाने में easy हो रहा है when you are analyzing it this way. That is the only purpose. So if I have to think about this entire पूरा का पूरा VAT now, हमने इसको पूरा का पूरा analyze कर लिया. Now all of you have a lot of points, right? Of what to write, how to write. Yes, Madhumita?
Yes, just one question. So for that digital activism topic, how would you conclude then in the end? Because now we heard points that are supportive. I mean, there are points that support that it is good. I mean, it is not spreading messages.
So it's a double-edged sword, right? I would rather conclude it by saying that, okay, digital activism. So in my opinion, digital activism currently amplifies whatever is fed to it.
Okay.
It can be a truth, it can be a lie as well.
Okay.
We need to ensure that it protects democracy. As I said, it's about allowing the voiceless to raise their voices, and at the same time preventing the mob mentality, preventing the social divide, and promoting democracy, right? So we have to make sure that digital activism, if it really has to prevent democracy, if it really has to allow the voiceless to raise their voices, we can not only rely on the platforms alone. We need strict legal frameworks for algorithmic accountability, as we discussed, and a social push as well for digital literacy. That is the point that Mehak mentioned, that degree. So we need a social push for the digital literacy and in general overall literacy. Digital activism is a very powerful tool, but the responsibility again lies with the users.
Okay, so we can stay diplomatic in the end. We don't have to necessarily choose one.
It's not a question again.
Okay.
Is it a question? Okay, बताओ मुझे. Question mark है.
No, I felt like it said or, so I felt like we had to say one in the end. Okay, got it though.
It's not a question. They are not asking you a question. They've given you a statement. आपने उसको पूरा का पूरा analyze कर लिया, and now you have it that okay, digital activism. In conclusion, digital activism, it just promotes whatever you feed to it. If you feed a truth, it will promote a truth. If you feed a lie, it will promote a lie.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
to ensure that it promotes democracy, it allows the voiceless to raise their voices without causing any major harm to the society. You probably can just not rely on the platforms. You need strict legal frameworks for algorithmic accountability, and you need a social push as well for overall literacy. It's a very powerful tool, but again, the responsibility lies with the one who's using it. And good way of encouraging participatory democracy, but need legal frameworks to inhibit misinformation, technological features like Grok on X. Perfect. Yes. Perfect, Arush. So this is how you conclude it. ठीक है?
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
In general, this is how you write a WAT. If को आपको अगर मान लो इस टॉपिक को आपको इंट्रोड्यूस भी करना था, so I would rather you can probably quote an example that from hashtag Black Lives Matter to hashtag Me Too movement, digital activism in general has actually undeniably reshaped the world, reshaped the democratic landscape of the world. However, the same algorithms that do reshape the landscape or do amplify the voices of the voiceless also amplify conspiracy theories. So, in my opinion, digital activism is neither a savior of the voiceless, and it's neither nor a villain of the society. It's a double-edged sword. It can protect democracy, but again, only when used judiciously. So that's how you can start. And then you give a proper body, and then you conclude whatever you have written in the two bodies. Again, your opinions might differ. I'm just telling you that how you can start, write, and conclude. ठीक है? I hope now at least आप लोगों को टॉपिक के बारे में पॉइंट्स ढूंढना समझ आ गया है. And now I think introduce कैसे करना है, conclude कैसे करना है, that part is also clear, right? For everyone. किसी को कोई डाउट है? किसी को भी किसी भी प्रकार का एनी डाउट? नहीं? Perfect. Everybody is clear. Everybody is now a bit more comfortable in WAT. Okay. Intro is all about, okay, for example, it's about digital activism. The topic is digital activism. So if I have to start, I would rather pick up 2-3 examples of of social media movements, right? You can pick up examples about anything. So I just chose 2 examples, which is again, let's say hashtag Me Too movement is something that I remember. Hashtag Black Lives Matter is something that I remember. These are all movements that started from social media and just blew away the entire internet. And again, so and then 2 examples I would give. Digital activism, in my opinion, has undeniably reshaped the overall democratic landscape. It has brought about major changes in the world. However, the same digital activism amplifies the voice of the oppressed or the voiceless, but at the same time amplifies conspiracy as well. So it's neither a savior nor a pure evil. It is a double-edged sword, and that that protects democracy but has its own demerits, and then you can start discussing the demerits that politically and socially digital platforms have democratized information. It allows the voiceless to raise their voices. You don't need traditional media gatekeepers. And again, जो हमने points discuss करे, then you can start your body part. So this is how you can start intro in general. Last वाले में, for example, आपको intro start करना था materialism वाली चीज में, right? So it was an abstract topic. So you started your intro with, like, let's say that the current world is driven by consumerism, and the standard of living or the quality of life has become a very, very important part. And now materialism has become an excess desire to own things, to own physical possessions. And now it's not just a survival instinct, it has become a status signal. It has its own pros that it drives economic growth, innovation, but it is also becoming an architect of our modern existential crisis. And then you start analyzing it from the lenses, like from the economic lens, from the societal lens. So this is how you introduce a topic in general. Okay, clear? सबको clear है? Okay. Perfect. I'll keep this session to WAT session only. Tomorrow same time. Tomorrow I have a class till 5:45. Tomorrow 7 p.m. guys. आप में जो available है. Let's have a session on consultant product first, and then day after tomorrow we can have on sales and marketing and supply chain also. So कल consultant product, basic frameworks of consulting, basic frameworks of product management with their examples of how to apply those frameworks in a IIM का interview scenario. Let's say if you're given a product, a new feature आपको बनाने को बोला है, so how you go about it in a real interview IIM में, PIs में. Also consulting wise, if they ask you to, let's say, analyze some EC 80-20 decision trees कैसे बनाने, let's look at that with real world examples tomorrow. And why consulting, why product, difference between consulting and other domains, product and other domains. Let's look at them tomorrow 7 p.m. because I'd like to keep this session for that only, because I'd like all of you go back and focus on maybe a couple of more topics of that and see if you can frame good answers or not. Yeah, guesstimate one I will have to edit. फैजान edit में तो मेरे को नहीं पता इसमें कितना, इसको डायरेक्टली अपलोड कर देता हूँ मैं. वो थोड़ा बड़ा सेशन हो गया था, आई थिंक इट्स इन जीबी स्टोर हुआ है, तो आई हैव टू सी उसको कैसे करना है, बट इसको तो मैं डायरेक्टली someone was saying something, right?
वो मैं बोलने वाली थी बट माइक गलती से ऑन हो गया. आप अपना कंप्लीट कर लो, देन आई वांट टू आस्क यू समथिंग.
ओके, तो ये वाला मैं डायरेक्टली अपलोड कर देता हूँ यार यूट्यूब पे. ये तो इसमें को ये वाला आई डायरेक्टली अपलोड एंड ठीक है. बट टुमारोज प्लान आई हैव टोल्ड यू गाइस, कंसल्टिंग एंड प्रोडक्ट वाला. So 7 p.m. I think we'll keep the session. 7 maybe, मतलब 7 का 8 हो सकता है depending on class late खत्म हुई तो, but not post 8. 8 max 8 पे रख लेंगे अपन session. And yeah, that's it from my end for today. हाँ जी महक.
भैया मैंने ना GI2 में मेरे को नहीं मिला अभी तक चांस, तो आज जो हो रहा है उसमें भी नहीं मिला मुझे चांस.
आप पार्टिसिपेट कर लो, नहीं मिला तो कोई नहीं, आप घुस जाओ. 5 कर लेंगे GI2, ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
बिकॉज मैं स्पेक्टेट कर चुकी हूँ. अब स्पेक्टेट करते वक्त ना तो वो जो माइंड में आता है वो सुनते सुनते दूसरों का भी वो बनते जाते हैं आंसर, पर जब खुद देने बैठो ना तो वो नहीं बनता है. इसलिए मुझे मेरा 4th Feb को इंटरव्यू है.
4th Feb को आज वाले तो आई थिंक सारे के सारे कल वाले हैं.
अच्छा कोई बात, मतलब आप आगे भी अगर करवाओगे तो मैं आगे पार्टिसिपेट कर लूंगी.
नहीं कल एक और GI होगा, मेरे पास तो बहुत केसेस है भाई, है
ना, तो फिर मैं चाहे कल कर लूंगी.
कल एक GI2 है तो फिर कल आपका स्लॉट अभी से मैंने बुक कर दिया. फिर चल
हाँ भैया प्लीज. थैंक यू.
नो वरीज. चलो गाइस, कल जो भी फ्री हो कंसल्टेंट प्रोड का लेट्स डू वन. मतलब आवर मेन फोकस विल बी टू अप्लाई द फ्रेमवर्क्स ऑफ प्रोडक्ट एंड जो एक्चुअली में तुम्हें IIMs के इंटरव्यूज में the kind of questions they ask related to consulting and product, and at times they give you, right, analyze this product or what changes do you want to make. If let's say if you're asked to pick a product, what changes would you make? Let's say this is the app, design a few features, what are the key metrics, North Star metric kya honge, this and that, PRDs and everything. We look at all of these things and how you can answer it in a much more structured manner in your PIs. So tomorrow we'll focus on consultant prod, and in the next session we'll focus on marketing, sales and marketing specific. I think it deserves one session, pura ka pura. So post that, and fair one we'll take for supply chain and ops. Okay. Sure. Thank you everyone, and see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.